AFTV James, he was at the game. Vieira takes a point on his return. Let's get your thoughts first and foremost.
I'll start from the Palace perspective. Credit to them. They're unlucky. They deserve to win that game. Simply because they came with, in my opinion, inferior starting 11, inferior squad, with a manager they've had less time with, and outplayed us. We're better on the ball. We're more comfortable. Dealt with us on the counter-attack better. When they counter-attack, they looked a threat. And they came to the Emirates and were brave and should have taken all 3 points. Credit to them for their performance and credit to Vieira. He's proving a very good manager with now, well, it's early, you know, but with now Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool away, gone, West Ham away, that's done. Yeah. Brighton, who we know are a good side, Brentford, Tottenham, you know, they played Leicester, they've played all these games. So a lot of games have just rattled off there. And they've, they've come through that in a very decent position, playing some very good football. And yeah, anyway, so I'm going on about Palace a bit too much, but credit to Vieira. And the reason I'm kind of going on about it is because I think we should be keeping an eye on him. I'm not saying anything about the manager and his future and anything, but I'm just saying we should be keeping an eye on Vieira and stuff. Yeah,
we just done full time together, and one thing I mentioned on the show is I look at the game today and I see what Vieira is trying to do already. 8 games in, I don't see what Arteta's trying to do. I have seen moments that allude to what he might be trying to do, but I think today was evidence that it's not working. And that's why I think you started with Vieira and Palace, because essentially when you look at it, it was like yin and yang in comparison. It looks like Vieira's been there 18 months and Arteta's been here for 8 games. Yeah. But what went wrong today? Because the lineup, everyone in the studio, even me, you know, it was the lineup I said on the warm-up. Odegaard to partner Partey, take it to them. But Odegaard and Partey for me were 2 of the poorest players on the pitch for us. Yeah, I can't blame Arteta for the lineup, but what went wrong in your perspective?
I've seen some suggestions that this isn't on Mikel. I respect everyone's opinion, but I strongly disagree. I think it is on Arteta, and the reason I say that is because the subs were fine, the starting 11 was fine, the start to the game was fine. So clearly, whatever he said in the changing room, he's got them right. Cool. But this isn't just one game. There's a fundamental, what's the word? Like, Arsenal seem to collapse in on themselves when plan A doesn't work. Or even more worryingly at times, when plan A has worked for 20 minutes, but then the opposition kind of figured it out, and then they're asking different questions. And suddenly we don't really have an answer to it. I felt we started well. That doesn't really surprise me. I kind of thought we would. We get the goal earlier than I thought we would in the game. But then it was kind of like, all right, Palace, what have you got? Well, Palace have quite a lot, actually. Yeah. They're actually not a bad side. We've been saying it. I said in the build-up with Cecil, they're really not a bad team. And when Palace got into the game, whether by hook or by crook, and what I mean by that is whether because we let them or because they actually did really well to impose themselves back in on the game, we don't have a plan B. We don't have another way of going, all right, we're not on the ball as much here, but we're 1-0 up, so we should still be some kind of a threat. And we weren't at all. Now, at the risk of kind of being too boring here, I saw a quite funny tweet. There's like a thread like months ago. This was after we just lost to City. And this guy, forgive me, whoever it is, put yourself in the comments if you ever watch this video. But he was basically saying, if you look at what Arteta wants his players to do, it's quite unbelievable. He wants his wingers to protect his fullbacks, but also to be available on the counter-attack, but also to come inside and get the ball, but also kind of be the ones who get on that final through ball, who are able to, pull through the cutback. So he doesn't ask Tomiyasu to get forward that much, and Tierney isn't getting forward as much as he was before. So it's an unbelievable job that Pepe and Saka are asked to do. They get so deep to the point where we're playing at home against Palace, we're almost a 4-5-1. Yeah. And when people look at these formations, it should really be 4-3-3 with your wingers helping, marking space, sort of blocking areas. But they're really, really deep. So you invite Palace on. That's the first issue I've got. When we're counter-attacking and Smith Rowe wins the ball back or Partey wins the ball, and by the way, in that first half, they did that a lot. We actually did really well to win the ball back in midfield. Aubameyang was dropping so deep. But then where's the Where's the offer on the counter?
There's a threat.
Right. So what we had was us winning the ball, and we look up, and often we get annoyed at the player who's lost the ball or played the bad pass. They're looking up and they're thinking, where do I go? So you've noticed Smith Rowe does this, the drag back into some space, or Odegaard does the pass back into Gabriel, because all they can do is keep the ball and try to build on, because the players aren't fundamentally in the positions they need to be to then go and cause more problems. I know I'm being really boring and tactical about it, but I think if you look at the best teams like Salah and Mane for Liverpool, they're always in that space where you're like, you know, when you've got the ball and you're thinking, don't lose it, because but no one's ever thinking, don't lose it against Arsenal, because you've got time to regroup, and you know it's going to take something special for them to do so. And the goal was something special, a lovely 1-2, and he's parried it away and Aubameyang's there, and actually he did well to get round there, and you know, so fine. But we don't have a plan B, and I blame Arteta, and I've been talking a while here, I apologise, but I blame Arteta because we fundamentally just said, all right, what have you got? And that's kind of okay if you're going to go punch for punch and say, what have you got? You don't, you know, you're all...
So this is what we've got.
Yeah, thank you. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. And we didn't have that. So first half, second half, I actually thought we were weirdly a bit better than the first half, but really still not good enough, yeah.
From the perspective of the studio, half-time was massive. They just had the chance to make it 1-1. Ramsdale, brilliant save. Probably the only player in the starting 11 for me that gets credit. But half-time came and it went, and they scored early in the second half, and then they took the lead and so on. And it made me think, how many games can I remember where at half-time the game changed massively in our favour because of an Arteta team talk? Your memory's better than mine. Can you help me out here?
No, we have, it's a stat. I mean, we have a remarkably poor record coming from behind under Mikel Arteta. It was something we did weirdly really well under Wenger. You remember, I always felt Arsenal would have another way. They'd always have something to make it frantic. Even in Emery's worst days, we kind of had some frantic nature about us. At least the other team would go, this is carnage. It's not very good, but it's a mess. And we don't even have that. I mean, I see Smith Rowe, the number 10. It's not his fault. He's been told to do this. He's a number 10. He's drifting wide. He's trying to get on the ball. He comes back inside. We go again. It's like it's all too safe. And that worries me, and that comes from the coach. I'll give Arteta credit on a couple of things because I've been really on his case tonight. But I noticed with about 2 minutes to go that Gabriel was basically up front. And I thought, I haven't seen this from Arsenal 1. I really like that. Just lump it up and hurt. And the goal comes from him winning the header, and it's a bit of carnage and whatever. So I like that. Fair play to him. That was, whoever said Gabriel get up there, you've rolled the dice and you've got a point out of it. So fair enough. I guess my final thing on this is, what's Arteta going to do against Villa that's going to improve this? Because for me, Arsenal's level is kind of that, but you also need like a Tottenham Hotspur performance where they're also going to be poor and the space are going to be there to exploit. Now, Palace weren't going to give us that. They're more organised. And Villa, I don't know what you're going to get from them. But what worries me is this whole kind of positional play style that we're going for. Now, people say it's what Guardiola and Bayern Munich and all them do. Man City, for me, aren't as good as the Man City of 17 to 19.
No.
So, have they improved for this style of play? When you look at my Twitter bio, it says stats and breakdowns at AFTV. So, I kind of self-profess that I think I understand that side of the game fairly well. Nowhere near like a coach would or whatever, obviously. But I don't really understand positional play. And I'll hold my hands up and I'll say it. I don't really understand. I understand in words and in theory, but I don't really understand. What are you telling me? It feels like great football, like tiki-taka, has come from the principles of positional play. But this idea that we're just going to knock it round till the space opens up. But Louis van Gaal did that at Man United and it was awful. You know, and Man City, when I watch them, still a great side. They're not as good as they were 3-4 years ago. Even though they won the league last year, they're not as good. So I'm not here trying to... people are going to be in the comments saying, what are you criticising Guardiola's tactics? No, he can do it because he's got the quality that those players, when they get Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, when they get into those areas, they can be so dangerous, and we don't have that. So what am I trying to say after this long rant about style? Arteta, I think, needs to start looking a little bit more at what we have in the squad and building something stylistically that suits what we have. Get Aubameyang on the shoulder. Get him on the shoulder, not constantly trying to link up. Get him on the shoulder where he's a threat. And if you don't want him to do that, you play Lacazette. And that's an end of, by the way. There's no debate there. If you want a striker that's going to hold it up, come into midfield, Lacazette plays. If you want Aubameyang, getting him beyond, that's your man. So my kind of takeaway from all of this, it's a long fan cam, apologies guys, and it's been a while since I've done this.
That's cool, it's good, it's a good one.
Getting it all off my chest, but the point is, there's one thing Arteta takes away from all this is just look at your squad and go, is this really, really, really how I want to play? Fine, but make sure you've got your Martinellis who can make something happen out of nothing, your Lacazettes who drop into midfield. If it's even to be regressive and defensive, make sure you got your fastest players on the pitch. But if it's not and it's not working, play to these guys' strengths, because there is quality in that team, and that group of players should be finishing in the top 6.
That it?
That's it for me.
To be honest, you could sense that you've been through that 90 minutes at the game, and before the game, I said to you I wanted to go. After the game, I think I made the right decision.
Absolutely. And by the way, I said finish in top 6. They should 100% finish in the top 6, but they should be challenging for top 4. And I think we're miles off that. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, listen, James, I let you speak because I was agreeing with everything you said.
Thanks, man.
I
was really on one.
I
needed it. This one's wound me up a lot. Yeah. And there's positives. I've not touched on them. There are positives. Finding a way to get a point. Some of the fight at the end, sure. Not losing. That is a positive. People won't like to hear that. That's a positive. But there's far too many problems that are becoming the norm now. So yeah, that's kind of where I am with it.
Yeah, and on to Villa. We'll see what happens then. Thank you, James. Nice one.
Cheers,